So now, now we are going to move to the last part of our show.
Yes, sir.
And we're going to start to enjoy our drinks. I know we talked about this together without everyone, but we're going to do some Canadian whiskeys.
All right, very good.
The first whiskey I have here is a little Ellington Reserve,
Not
8-year Canadian whiskey. It's a premium Canadian whiskey, aged to perfection in charred oak barrels for 8 years.
Interesting.
It supposedly produces a smooth, mellow flavor for discerning whiskey connoisseurs.
I have never had it before, but first time out.
Me either. Neither of these whiskeys from Canada have I tried before.
Not bad. I was expecting it to burn a little bit more than it did.
I was given word that this was a much harsher whiskey than it was. I was expecting
to be a little harder there too.
Yes, I wouldn't give it a full mellow flavor.
Well, compared to what I was prepping for.
Yes, I was really expecting much stronger based on some of the feedback some of our fans were giving us when we let them know this is what we were drinking. Overall, it's a good whiskey.
It's 80 proof, so it's 80 proof. So you'd think it actually would have a little more kick to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is definitely going to make it into our house blend.
Nice.
I'll be adding that after the show. For those of you who don't know, someday there will not be a pandemic, and the show will be done in person, and we will be sharing the house blend as one of the drinks every time as it grows. Now we're gonna put this aside. I'm not saying I'm gonna not finish it. Just we have some show to get through.
All right.
So we're gonna pull up the J.P. Weiser's Spiced Vanilla Whiskey. This is full-bodied flavors of sweet caramel, toffee, dried fruit, rounded off with a pleasant vanilla and a sweet, pleasant finish. This is a lot lighter than the last one.
Cheers. Now see that one.
It burns more.
Yeah,
it's more mellow. Like I don't know how to.
The vanilla I think keeps it mellow, but yeah, it does burn a little bit more than the Ellington.
Yes, but the spice sweet of which it talks about, it almost tastes like a bourbon in its sweet. Okay. So before we go on, let's change and get our last drink in.
Very good. You and I were going different paths on this one.
Yeah. Yes. How can you give us a little bit brief information on your 1-minute show that I know you do, and I know you're very proud of it. It's completely different than your sports world, but let's talk about that for a minute.
All right. So basically, uplifting stories in a minute is what I kind of refer to as life therapy. You know, with everything that's been going on in the world, everything that you look at on social media and the news is just negative stuff. I had this puppet that's been sitting around and I had the green screen. So I came up with Uplifting Stories in a Minute, which are just short daily 1-minute videos about the little kid that saved, basically put a fundraiser together for $4,000 to eliminate student meal debt, you know, or the principal that went back to school. Principal that went back to work overnight shifts at Walmart and gave the money to impoverished families. The show that I did, or the episode that I did for tonight, was scientists in Japan have come up with an AI that can predict tsunamis and what they're going to do in real time, which will allow emergency response to respond more quickly anywhere around the globe as tsunamis and as earthquakes are happening. So these are just short, quick stories about just average people, frankly, just making the world a better place. And it's gotten a really good response. I'm actually happy for that. But I also see it as my own kind of life therapy, because the news and social media depresses me. This helps offset that.
Yeah, well, we know that to get, even like you said, a 1-minute story in a news show of the good news is once a week if you're lucky.
It's at the end of the broadcast.
Right. When you're changing the channel to go to the next news show with all the bad news, it's like, oh, you missed it. And you're doing this with a puppet in a green screen.
Yes. Doing puppet in the green screen. I relaunched the channel about a month ago. I originally started it out with just myself, but then I had Herb Herbansky is his name. And I just started rolling with him. And like I said, the response has been really good. I will have to change out his outfits. I don't know if you know this, may as well say this. I had a bird in my basement today. So when I came down here to record one of the episodes, there's a bird flying around. I don't know how long it's been here, but ironically enough, it had been around long enough that it had to take care of its own business. So now I have to wash Herb's shirt. Bottom.
Of all the things he could get to, the one guy who's giving news to everybody, he literally.
Yeah. What are you gonna do? I mean, there's a giant spot like right here. But you know what? All his clothes are like size for like a size 2-year-old. So I'll just throw it in the wash. I'll take care of it. It won't be that big of a deal.
Beautiful.
But it's just the oddity of the fact that it's like this one giant white spot on a blue shirt right here.
Yes. Has the bird ever gotten you?
No, yes. And I do not believe in the whole thing about how it's going to bring you good luck. I don't believe that. Maybe from the standpoint that your day can only get better. But there were times that I would get on the train, New Jersey Transit, like in Waldwick at 5 o'clock in the morning, right on your shoulder. And you're just like, all right, so this is how my day is starting.
Yeah. I've had a lot of near hits.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that term near miss. I don't know what that means, but
Yeah.
I have a lot of near hits. The closest was the guy standing next to me, literally shoulder to shoulder, got it right there. I was like, whoa, glad it was you, not me.
I think
my day better.
2, maybe 3 times in my life. I know definitely 2, maybe a third in there. What are you going to do? It's part of life. It's again, life is 10% what happens to you, 90% how you deal with it.
Absolutely. You know what? It's one of those things that you guys just take as being funny and hope you don't have to wear that suit all day.
Yeah.
So usually we try to match up all our drinks throughout the show, but
thank you.
You made a request of what you wanted your third drink to be.
I did.
You asked if it could be the Glenlivet for your father-in-law, and unfortunately, both of us lost our father-in-laws within the last 2 months.
Yeah. So
my initial plan was to go with the Glenlivet, but I decided that I was going to do something a little different. But first, while you pour your Glenlivet for everybody, it's supposed to be smooth, fruity, complex, sophisticated.
It was my father-in-law's favorite drink. So in this case, in honor of Ray, who, by the way, was the drummer for Shade Tree Mechanics. That's how you and I got to know Mike Rochelle. He was the drummer for that band for 20 plus years and was able to perform down in Memphis, representing New Jersey for the International Blues Competition. So that was a cool experience a couple of years ago. Really nice guy, very caring, good friend, good attitude. Just honestly, just a good-hearted guy. And it was just spontaneous, just like that. I was thinking about having to come down here and record, and then I got a phone call from my wife that basically was pretty much all over. So that was 3 weeks ago yesterday.
Wow. And was that in Memphis in May when you went down to Memphis?
That was Memphis 2019.
Okay.
Yeah, we went down. That was the last time they had the blues competition, I think. So it was. Memphis is a great city, very laid back. I'm not a real big fried chicken fan, which unfortunately is a problem for that environment, but it's a really chill place. The people get along. And like I said, if you love blues, my God, that is the place to go. Yes,
I've been to Memphis, probably other than New York and Philly, which I live by, the city I've been to the most. Some of your classmates migrated down to Memphis, and I used to visit.
Interesting.
them.
Okay.
I'm not going to name names. They know who they are. And
We'll talk afterwards. I'm kind of curious myself.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. A good number of people from our age group, about 6 or 7, maybe even more, migrated down there. Now, my father-in-law, he was a teetotaler.
Okay.
His favorite drink was the Arnold Palmer.
Okay.
To be honest, the way the story has been relayed to me is my mother-in-law loved tea.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much, so he insisted on adding the lemonade. He was a huge sports fan.
Mm-hmm.
From the day I met him, almost every one of our conversations were in front of a TV while watching the game. Loved the Lakers, loved Tiger. Last Winter Olympics, him and I were loving the hockey. Always on, no matter what. He knew the story of whatever the sport that ended up on that TV was. He knew the teams, the players, college players, and all. But always having in-depth conversations with you while you were watching, always asking the questions that got right to the heart of the matter, and never judging you when you gave the answers. These are answers that affected his daughter and his grandchildren, and he was, yeah, that works for me. So I miss you all, and to father-in-laws.
Yes. Cheers.